आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़ की आवाज़।
Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast is a STEM popularization initiative catalyzed and supported by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, produced by Media for Community Foundation, content support by Kadalose FM 90.4 Community Radio, and hosted by your Surya Kiran. Tissue engineering with a long-term goal of addressing the shortage of donor organs for transplantation by designing suitable organs or biological substitutes is a major thrust area of the Division of Tissue Engineering and Regenerative Technologies of Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum. The division has ambitious research programs to create organs such as pancreas, cartilage, blood vessels, etc. that may be available off the shelf and impact clinical applications. Current major research programs of the division have been directed to develop novel biodegradable and biomimetic designer scaffolds and understand the regeneration processes using adult cells and directed stem cell differentiation, and as well delineate the molecular pathways that regulates the growth of factors and other molecules or drugs to promote regeneration. Other areas of interest deal with usage of bioreactors, wherein the in vivo environment is recapitulated and monitored in vitro while exerting physiologically relevant mechanical and biochemical stimuli to guide neo-tissue development. The division also contributes to other lab and institutional programs, example, lung and bone, with designer scaffolds. Development of biopolymer composites for medical applications is another important area of research. Scaffolds made by conventional techniques and electrospinning as well as regulator combinations generated by the division find additional applications in drug delivery, wound healing, and hemostats. The division has been supported with project grants from DST, DBT Government of India, and KSTEC, Kerala, being the nodal center for the joint Indo-US Center for Stem Cells and Tissue Engineering, supported by IUSSTF, and is the lead for Center of Excellence in Tissue Engineering program with support from DBT, Government of India. Now, shall we get along with today's episode and meet the scientist of the day who specializes in tissue engineering and regenerative technologies. DrLynda V. Thomas, Scientist F and Scientist in Charge, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram.
Hi, I'm Dr. Linda V. Thomas, and I'm a Scientist F and heading the Division of Tissue Engineering and Regenerative Technologies at the Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology. I'm actually an alumni of the same institute wherein I did my PhD in the Tissue Engineering Division, and I moved abroad as a postdoctoral fellow, that is a Fulbright postdoctoral fellow at Duke University. After my return to India, I actually joined a startup industry by the name Axio Biosolutions, for which I worked for a year, before which I moved into the same alumni institute as the scientist today. Now presently I'm Scientist F and heading the lab. So my interest and passion has been in doing research, and the area of tissue engineering is quite intriguing because it is quite interdisciplinary. So it involves the marriage of several disciplines, not only biology or engineering. It has several disciplines like bioinformatics, robotics, AI, everything incorporated into one segment. So I'm always a learner for life.
Regenerative medicine seeks to replace tissue or organs that have been damaged by age, disease, trauma, or congenital issues, versus the current clinical strategy that focuses primarily on treating the symptoms. The tools used to realize these outcomes are tissue engineering, cellular therapies, and medical devices and artificial organs. Combinations of these approaches can amplify our natural healing processes in the places it is needed most or take over the function of a permanently damaged organ. Regenerative medicine is a field that brings together experts in biology, chemistry, computer science, engineering, genetics, medicine, robotics, and other fields to find solutions to some of the most challenging medical problems faced by humankind. Moving on, let's listen to Dr. Linda V. Thomas as she shares her areas of research.
Basically, tissue engineering is an interdisciplinary area that combines the principles of biology, engineering, and other disciplines, which helps us to develop tissue substitutes that help to restore, maintain, or even regenerate tissue functions.
Tissue engineering is a strategy where biologically compatible scaffolds are implanted in the body at the site where new tissue is to be formed. If the scaffold is in the geometric shape of the tissue that needs to be generated and the scaffold attracts cells, the outcome is new tissue in the shape desired. If the newly forming tissue is subjected to exercise as it forms, the outcome can be new functional engineered issue. Millions of patients have been treated with some form of tissue engineered devices, yet the field is in its infancy. The primary success stories have been with soft tissue regeneration. Now, let's get to know the potential benefits of this research for a common man or the nation's field of science as whole, as shared by Dr. Linda V. Thomas.
So basically, tissue engineering is a very much emerging area. It has recently hit the market and it is also a technology wherein now with the advent of precision medicine, personalized medicine, and also organ on a chip, bio organs or organ transplantation, all this has led to the emergence of tissue engineering as an aspect where now several research is being focused on this area. So basically, when it comes to common man, now it's like taking or building up affordable devices that helps the nation in developing these devices. To reach common man, we can also use the regenerative principles. So basically, it's more cost effective. But when we talk about it, research is still in its infancy in India. So to develop this as a system or where it can be spread to common man, it requires a lot more research. And one area which is lacking is the regulatory aspects. So in India, at present, tissue engineering products are actually considered as a drug. So basically, there is a lot more need for the regulatory aspects to get improved in this area so that we can actually bring this out. So this is one aspect which actually industries are a bit not willing to take up the technologies because the regulatory front is actually quite stringent because it's now considered a drug, and so they have to face the CDCSO, and this makes the time frame from which it can get to the market more cumbersome. So if that can be regulated, I think it can hit the market and it can be a boom, because this is something which is upcoming and many areas are tied up to this area because it's an interdisciplinary area. You have the AI in tissue engineering, you have bioinformatics and computational modeling that can be used in this area, you have miniature tissue organs or models that can be developed for studying diseases, and also you have the bioprinting aspect, which is now really upcoming, and this also uses the principle of tissue engineering. So basically, tissue engineering is composed, it's called a tetrad or a triad. Initially it was called a triad because you use cells, you have a three-dimensional framework that is made up of polymers, biodegradable polymers, and you have the microenvironment, so which involves growth factors. And in the tetrad now, we are also looking at by processing the microenvironment that is required for these tissues to grow in. So there is where the bioreactors all come in. So, it's like encompassing a lot of these segments. And if you get it in the right milieu, the tissues will grow, So this is actually also a challenge for us. So we work on basically three aspects, that is in the area of cartilage tissue engineering, we work on vascular tissue engineering, as well as developing technologies for pancreatic transplantation.
Ma'am, can you please share us about the past the present and the future possibilities of your research areas?
So to begin with the genealogy of tissue engineering, it is even connected to mythology. Although science was not connected to mythology, but we can take several. So everything is connected to science. So it like even the Prometheus, who stole the fire, stole fire from god of Zeus, and he was asked to, he was punished wherein he was asked eagle was asked to peck on his liver, and the liver regenerated every day. Right, so there starts the concept of tissue engineering. You have even Susruda, the father of surgery, who used such techniques wherein he took gluteal fat for, replacing burnt skin and all that. So the concept is not that new. It has been over generations coming up. But in the year 2000, 1990 to 2000, that era, it was actually hyped a bit. So, as you know, there is something known as a Garter's hype cycle. So any technology, it starts by a hype, then people realize, and there is a pitfall. So you actually fall, you are in a trough of disillusionment wherein you make a lot of mistakes, you fall. Then there is a slope of enlightenment. So where you discover that, you have to learn from your mistakes and, take each of this and work towards getting it done. So this is where we are now. So we are like working our way through by studying the, difficulties or the problems that have been faced or the challenges that have come in this way. So this is how it has started and it has evolved. But it has a bright future in the sense that, like I said, it is going to help a mass population wherein instead of developing devices or technologies, you're regenerating your own tissue or organ. So this is where it is not a hype, it is actually a technology that is possible. It is not that it is not impossible, provided you have a lot of challenges there which you need to actually address. So how you address these challenges using your interdisciplinary area or your interdisciplinary field, which is present in our institute. So our institute, if you look at it, we have a wide range of people, starting from engineers, scientists, we have veterinarians. So it is like a group work that helps us to develop such technologies, and this is what we do here. So
that was fascinating. Now, dear listeners, we will catch up with Dr. Lynda V. Thomas in the next episode as we discuss on the Research Contemporaries, Association of Indian Industries with these researchers and more. Until then, take care. You're listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast, a STEM popularization initiative catalyzed and supported by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, produced by Media for Community Foundation, content support by Kadalosai FM 90.4 Community Radio, and hosted by your Surya Kiran.